Peace and love, everybody. Thanks for being here live. I sure appreciate it. And hello to all the people who are going to be watching this by recording. Really appreciate it so much. So, Christianity is dying. So, what's next? Peace and love. I'm Peter Panagore, an ex clergy member and a near death experiencer. Christianity is dying, and it has been for a long time. 1 in 4 Americans are nuns. Not nuns, but nuns. Nones. As in, honey, I ain't got no religion. The term comes from surveys that ask people about their religious affiliations, and none or none of the above is often the last choice in public opinion surveys, such as people who identify as atheist, agnostic, or nothing in particular, or F you, church, you hurt me. These are considered religiously unaffiliated by the religious and are often referred to as nuns. Nuns are number one among Americans, according to the Pew Research Center, my hero research center, which has been measuring the steepening decline of Pew sitters for decades. And just in case you ain't got no religion anymore, doesn't mean you ain't got soul. Everybody's got a soul because, as NDEers know, everyone is a soul, is consciousness inhabiting a body, top down, not bottom up. And maybe you've experienced something similar, like an out of body experience, an after death communication, or an angelic visitation, or energy transference from a guru. Now, you don't fit into religion anymore if you ever did before. But even among the nuns, the agnostics, the materialists, and the atheists, we experiencers and intuitors are outsiders. Spiritual but not religious? Maybe you've told your pastor, family, or friends, and they told you some variation of, beware, it's the devil disguised as an angel of light. Or worse, your friends and family look at you and you see their response on their faces and hear in their voices, you've gone to crazy town, sister. Oh, before we continue, let's take just a moment here and take a breath or two, go to crazy town inside ourselves, which is actually a place of peace and quietude. Not crazy at all. A funny thing about Christianity, and I think there are funny things about it, is that if you read the Gospels, you'll see that Jesus got the same response from his family. They thought Jesus lived in crazy town. Most people think most mystics do. His family thought so. How about yours? Does yours? How about your friends? My family finally came to accept me, but only or mostly because I don't talk about it with them pretty much ever. Unless it's about my books or my movie or something related to my work, but not the thing itself. Heck, if I even talk about meditation, there's not a whole lot of good response there. It's a type of social exile. Then Yeshua entered a house, and again a crowd gathered so that he and his disciples couldn't eat. When his family heard about this, they went to get him and bring him home because, as they said, Jesus is out of his mind. Now, there probably are a lot of things in the Bible that aren't true. I know there are. But, this has a ring of truth to it for me that his family thought he was nuts. Crazy man. Looney Tunes. Do you ever feel that way when people look at you or when you talk? So we learn to keep our mouths shut and keep the conversation superficial, or we just back away, isolate, and not participate. Rejection and isolation. Jesus, he had the same problem. The Gospel of Thomas, line 31, Logion 31, and Luke 4:24 say that Jesus said, "No prophet is accepted in his village." And he's always talking about himself. That's where he gets his knowledge from. He's talking about his own experience. And he's apparently not accepted among his family. And we're not really accepted among the nuns. We're outliers even there. And he would have been too. He definitely was outside of the religion. And so are we. And they're okay with us hanging out with him as long as we don't talk about that crazy awakening, that light thing. That's what they mean when they say you can hang out with us. Just don't talk about it. So let's take a look at this word prophet to see if you have glimmers of it. 1. In many religious traditions, particularly Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, a prophet is seen as a messenger of Allah, or Allah, or the Nameless One, chosen to convey messages and teachings to the people. Messaging and teaching come into the world through actions in the world, and sometimes through words. I love this thing that St. Francis of Assisi said, "I preach the gospel at all times, and sometimes I use words." Prophets proclaim the truth of light and love. That's what Jesus was doing, the truth of light and love, which makes him a prophet. Maybe with a lowercase p for the rest of us. So, how about you after your awakening or enlightenment? Do you speak the truth of light and love or live it in the world through your karma yoga, your action of charity? So, 2. Some prophets foretell the future, but this is tricky business. If you look at all the prophecies in the Bible, you'll see that Christians go back through and say, this is a prophecy about Jesus, but the Jewish scholars, they're like, nah, not so much. And everybody's waiting for the end of the world for those who believe in Revelation and the eschaton and the apocalypse. Well, that might not be so far off, but I don't think it's what they think it is. So let me try one. The world is about to change. It's already changing. We've lost much of our shoreline just last week. The tides are rising. The coming wave is also a ubiquitous technological advancement. This is a new term, ubiquitous technology, signifies a technology that becomes an omnipresent part of everyday life. Hey Siri? Hey Siri, what's up?
I was just wondering if she'd count people to help them sleep. If you need help, try saying, "Hey Siri, tell me a bedtime story."
Omnipresent technology is a part of everyday life, seamlessly integrated into our daily activities and environment. And it's already here. I use ChatGPT 4 all the time. If you Google anything, that's what's going on in the background. If you use Bing, it's the same deal. Artificial intelligence is a prime example, and it's already become and will radically change. It's already become reality, and it will radically change everything: society, economics, politics, finance, nation states, power dynamics, war, elections, communications, education, agriculture, and, well, like I said, everything in unpredictable ways. The changes have begun already, and they're only going to accelerate as AI scales the heights of human intelligence. Toss in biotechnology, machine printing, climate change, synthetic media. Take a guess what that is. And robotics. And we have a global, potent mix for a new type of social structure. Humanity probably won't end with the rapture. It's not gonna. But change is a coming and it's already begun. So don't you think that the people of the light and love should have a voice in this? We nuns should have a voice in this? Some influence, a nudge maybe? 3, prophets. Historically, prophets have been social, political, and moral instructors. Social, political, and moral instructors. Are we? Should we be? Maybe we already are. We're teaching love without religion, light without confines. It's messy and it's dirty and it's unkempt and it's a little chaotic. But we're living love in the world to the best of our abilities. That's a manner of teaching and messaging. Politically, prophets spoke truth to power. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke truth to power. That's what they did politically. Morally, Jesus taught kindness, love, and bravery in word and deed, selflessness. Socially, I think all prophets side with the love and light living inside of them because there's no choice to it. When it erupts inside oneself, it becomes oneself, first and foremost. And we are saying what we must say and let the chips fall where they may. That's why some of the Jewish prophets were hunted down. They went into hiding because the kings didn't like what they were saying. That's an old story. 4, prophets provide spiritual leadership. Maybe you're doing that even now, even if you can't talk about it with your family and your friends, because when you do, they think you're nuts. But leadership in general is better by example than talk, isn't it? Who do you want to follow? The general who is behind the lines or the one who goes into battle with you? Who do you want to work for? The CEO who's in the C-suite and never comes down to the factory floor, picks up a broom and feels what it is, or talks to the people? Leadership by example is so much better than leadership by talk. In action, our spiritual transformations take on expression, even without words. At least this way, we can manage some of the rejection and the isolation that we experience when everybody thinks we live in crazy town. And the most important thing I think of all of this is that we need each other. I'm tired of being isolated and separated from my, what shall I call us? My peers, my community, my people, my peeps, my family, my like knows like. Among the nuns, atheists, agnostics, materialists, the religiously traumatized, there are people like us. As society heads into this new human epoch, and it is headed there, and I don't need a crystal ball to see that, an unpredictable mix of good and bad will come as a result. But there's going to be a lot of trouble as we move ahead. And we're going to need each other on a massive scale. Humanity needs us. Those of us who have been transformed, had a spiritual awakening, near-death experiences, humanity needs us. And it needs our participation. But it doesn't have to be changing the world. It's living where you are, influencing the people that you're with, maybe never saying anything, maybe because they won't let you talk about it. But you can still behave in a way that comes from the treasure of your heart. And whether they know it or not, they need us. And it's going to take financial and social capital, because one of the things that religion got right and still gets right is funding and cohesion, because power is money and community. The church still has a lot of both. which gives them a disproportionate power, especially the evangelical church. They have a disproportionate amount of power. It's a tyranny of the minority. And yet, the nuns far outnumber them. Nuns are number one. Prophets were singular people acting on their own. Now, tens of millions of us are still acting on our own with our mouths shut for fear of social reprisal. And that hurts, I know, especially from the people who love you and you love. But if humanity will have a chance at a better and brighter future, they need us now more than ever. And we need each other. And this has never happened in the history of the world. The advancement of the technology that we're now facing, this has never happened. Sure, we've had technological advances that have influenced it. Who doesn't have a phone, for crying out loud, and connection to the World Wide Web? Pretty much everybody. That's a ubiquitous technology, almost. But here's something to think about. When DNA was sequenced, and they invented this machine called CRISPR, which basically is DNA scissors. It cost some, and I don't remember the number, it's like $1 billion for a CRISPR machine to build the first one. Now they're like $10,000 in about 20 years. This steep decline in cost and rise in availability is democratizing availability to all these technologies. That's what AI is going to do. It's going to become a democratizing and also a focusing. It's going to do two things at once. It's going to give us all this availability of technology, and it's also going to empower the powerful. And here we are, tens of millions of us all over the world, acting as if we're on our own, and maybe even sometimes fighting among ourselves. There's no fighting inside with the light and the peace, the love and the beingness. If we all meet there, what did Rumi say? There's a field outside somewhere. Let's go meet there. That's a terrible quote, but he's right. Let's go meet here, because the world's going to need us, and they don't even know it yet. And this whole wave. It's not just coming. It's already here, and it's going to accelerate faster than you can possibly imagine. Because as AI scales and becomes ubiquitous, it's going to influence every other technology, and it's going to influence itself. And it's not just one AI. There's AIs all over the world. The world needs us, if only to be channels of light right where we are, to talk to each other, form communities. And I don't just mean our wonderful community, for which I am grateful, because I always felt alone here in this, since I died and came back the first time, by myself. I think lots of us feel that way. I know people that talk to me on Zoom when we have our meetings, private conversations. I know they feel that way. Their families don't let them express who they are. Their friends want to keep them masked. I masked for most of my life. I still mask in my community. No, it's not a terrible thing. Everybody here in my town knows what I'm like. But I don't talk about it. They let me be me because I don't talk about it. Unless they're in trouble, and then they come to me. But most of the time, it's karma yoga for me, baby. It's expression through action. Oh, just this morning, somebody came by and dropped off this, and I wish I had saved the scone, but I ate it. I shared it with my wife. So I came back to my studio, and someone of my neighbors had left a box outside of my door here. Stopped in when I was in the house getting showered up and shaved for this thing this morning, this live stream. And I got this beautiful blueberry scone from a local bakery. That's karma yoga. She changed my morning. She brought this gift to me and impacted my life. And it was so sweet. It's not the big grand gestures always. It's the small ways we interact with our regular people. And there's no need to really talk about it. I want to talk about it. Here I am making a living talking about it, trying to, always have been talking about it since the day I died, making a living at it some one way or another, either as a pastor or on television and now with this. We need each other in lots of ways, and the world needs us. And Christianity has been in this long, steep decline as they tighten their grip on power. And who's going to pick up the pieces, if not the people of love? Historically, humanity has never really got it right. Now, on occasion, we do. But as a collective, we have an opportunity now to help nudge the direction. And I, for one, think we can do it together. What other choice do we have? It's coming. It's already here. I choose to surf the wave rather than fight against it. I'm too small to fight on my own anyway. But altogether, bringing light, channeling love into the world, well, I started this by saying, Christianity is dying, so what's next? Us. Not just you and me, but the tens of millions of us around the world who have been remade and reborn through mystical awakening. Not selfishly, but in unity and oneness. Let them be one as you and I are one, Jesus is said to have said. And as for me, I'm pretty sure that's one of the truthful sayings that got handed down. So, my friends, thanks for listening and for your gifts, making this niche place where mystics gather possible. You can visit peterpanagore.love. Say hi to me there. I've started an Instagram, rather, I have an Instagram, and I've started a TikTok. You can find me over there with video shorts. I'm experimenting with those on YouTube, doing everything I can to help people feel less isolated and more awakened. Mystic Tea Salon is at the top of the hour, and you can find the link in the show notes. And that's something we all do together, and I am grateful for our community because I don't feel alone anymore, and I hope you don't either. I'm going to take a look over here in the chat. Thank you, everybody. Peace and namaste to you all. I take a little peek over here at the chat. Let's see. Plenty of flavors of social exile these days. You're on many lists. Yeah, I can hear you. There are plenty of layers of that. I'm sort of tired of masking for their comfort, though. Yeah, me too. That's why I'm out of the closet now. Because I got so sick and tired of it. But the exile comes with it, so you got to be resilient enough to know that if you come out of the closet, people are gonna give you the eyebrow. But yeah, I've learned to live with it. I love the drop in little nuggets of truth. Saying thanks, Susie. Hey, Andrew. I grew up convinced that I would become a nun. I'm just a different kind of nun, None. I like this kind better, PL. Yeah, me too. This is the kind of nun I am. I am none. I have to think about that. There's potential for comedy there. I think the broader purpose of information technology, from the point of view of the divine of our souls, is to help all of us open our hearts to one another. Andrew, yeah, I think so. I hope so. I keep my fingers crossed. Good morning, Timothy, from Phoenix. Day 4 of Paxlovid. Must be a terrible medicine that I don't know, and my heart goes out to you. And I hope that you get over whatever you have so far. Listening to you speak, Peter, does more to alleviate my loneliness induced by my family and friends not wanting to listen than anything else in my life. Without YouTube, I wouldn't know about you. Thanks, Andrew. I'm grateful for YouTube too, and the great AI technology that runs it. The overlord AI algorithm. Thanks, Andrew. I feel the same way. Less alone. This is hitting home. This is hitting deep, Peter, 100% on point. I often feel like I'm speaking to an empty room, even though I am writing about it and speaking about it and living true to authentic being on my channel, talking true. I hear you, sister. This is one of the problems is you can't make people see if they can't see, and they can't hear if they don't hear. And so I'm always trying to encourage them, and you're trying to encourage them. We're all, which is why we need each other, because the more we gather together, I think the experience, not I experience, the greater the intensity of light. I'm going to go in about a minute because I got to take a little break here before we get to Mystic Tea Salon, and the link is in the notes, and we'll continue this conversation over there. Thank you, Kristen. Oh, happy birthday, upcoming birthday. Thank you, Kristen. I'm going to go see Randy Rainbow with my wife, and I want to thank everybody who's helped with that. Randy Rainbow's coming to Portland, and we've got tickets. It's going to be great. He's hysterical. I love laughter. Thank you, Kristen. Thumbs up, Quiet Energy. Peter also has a Patreon. Thanks, KT. I have Patreon. Thanks a lot for saying that. Colin Anderson. It's more difficult to walk around the world being mean to people. Oh, it totally is. Spreading love makes the whole world a better place. Totally, 100%. The walleye, a predatory fisheye, the side look. Oh yes, the walleye. Right. Peace from Spain. Hola. Vaya con Dios. That's like, okay, that's, yes, go with God. But I'm not ending quite yet. I got another 30 seconds. Love this wonderful. Thank you very much, Macarena Ruiz Marcos. I haven't spoken Spanish in a long time, but I love the language. Many know this alone feeling. This space feels like it saves. Thanks beyond measure. Thanks, Kick. All right, I'll see you in a couple minutes. Mystic Tea Salon, link in the notes. Peace and love. Thanks for being here. Peace and love to all the people who are watching by recording.